Welcome to The Explainer, where we transform raw source material into a clear, compelling story. Today, we're diving into the transcript of a chaotic, live storytelling session to uncover a dark urban mystery. Okay, let's dive right in. Picture this. A city has been plunged into total darkness by a recent earthquake. And down in the supernatural underworld, everyone is on edge. You can just feel it. Something ancient and really bad is starting to wake up, and its influence is beginning to show in some truly terrifying ways. So, here's where our story kicks off. We got this group of vampires. They're known as the Coterie, and they are arriving for a very tense meeting deep inside hostile territory. They're hoping, desperately, to find some answers about a strange sickness that's spreading among their kind. So they walk into this bar, right, and the place has been shaken to its foundations by the quake. The only light is coming from these dying emergency lamps and a bunch of eerie, flickering, battery-operated candles. The setting itself tells you everything you need to know about their situation. This is a broken world, barely held together, and just filled with suspicion. So in this room, you've got two factions squaring off. On one side are protagonists, the Coterie. They're the outsiders, and they're looking for information. On the other side, you have the local Anarchs, led by the incredibly unpredictable Angela. Now, you have to understand, these Anarchs value their freedom above all else, and they do not take kindly to outsiders making demands. The Coterie is here for diplomacy, but the Anarchs, well, they're wounded, they're protective, and the room just feels like a powder keg. And as you might expect, this meeting doesn't exactly start with a handshake. No, it starts with an accusation about a fallen comrade named Guapo, another vampire who's fallen to this mysterious affliction. That one line from an Anarch named Sherry is the spark that lights the fuse. It's just this callous, cold dismissal of a fallen friend. And in response, the Anarch leader, Angela, she just explodes. She grabs Sherry by the hair and smashes her face right into the bar. And just like that, the bar erupts into a full-on brawl between two of the Anarch's own leaders. It is a brutal, chaotic display of fangs and fury, with one of them literally trying to throw the other through a wall. The attempt at diplomacy is officially over. So, seeing the entire meeting just completely fall apart, one of the Coterie, a guy known as the Undertaker, he leaps into the middle of the fight. His plan? To shout for calm and pull the two brawlers apart. But that is not what comes out. Instead, this involuntary animalistic roar just rips from his throat, a jaguar's roar. And this is the real takeaway here. This isn't just some gang fight. It's a symptom. The very affliction they came to investigate is showing up right in front of them, in one of their own. The shock of that inhuman sound, combined with the raw violence, it finally brings the brawl to a dead stop. A fragile truce settles over the room, and the two sides, they finally start sharing what they know, realizing they might be up against the same terrifying enemy. Now, the clues to this whole mystery, they don't come from a detective's notebook. They emerge from three strange, supernatural sources that connect in a deeply unsettling way. And what's so fascinating is watching them connect the dots. One member recalls a psychic vision he had of a giant reptile swallowing the sun, deep beneath the earth. Another one tastes the blood spilled in the fight, and he detects this strange, ancient, almost glittery quality he's run into before. And that taste connects to a single, horrifying name from his research: ape. And that's not just a random name. In Egyptian mythology, ape is the embodiment of chaos, a world-ending serpent that tries to devour the sun. The implication here is absolutely terrifying. Something that powerful might be what's waking up right now, underneath Portland. And that single name, ape, it shifts everything. The brawling factions suddenly realize their internal conflict is nothing, absolutely nothing, compared to the apocalyptic threat they both face. Angela, the Anarch leader, she says this, and she's finally grasping the true scale of the danger. The powder keg she thought she was sitting on is nothing compared to the volcano they've just discovered. And the fear of this common enemy is enough to forge a temporary and very uneasy truce. But they have a deadline. In just 2 nights, the city's powerful and very isolated ruler, the prince, is hosting a gathering. It is their one and only chance to present their findings and convince her to act before it's too late. So this raises a critical question. How do you convince an isolated ruler of an ancient, frankly unbelievable threat? They're going to need more proof, and they need an ally who knows the world beneath the streets better than anyone. So the coterie suggests a desperate gambit. They have to recruit the Nosferatu. Now, this is a reclusive and feared clan of subterranean vampires. They live down in the sewers and the tunnels, and they may have actually seen this threat firsthand.
I mean, their plan is a total long shot. It's forcing ancient rivals to work together and to rely on a clan that most vampires absolutely despise. They have to combine the prophetic vision, the blood analysis, and any potential testimony from the Nosferatu, and present it all together. This just perfectly captures the high stakes. They have one chance to make their case.
So with a plan forged in violence and sheer desperation, the two factions part ways, leaving us with a final, lingering question. Faced with a world-ending threat, is a truce between bitter enemies ever enough, or will their own natures tear them apart before the real monster does?